Okay, welcome back, and been looking forward to having back with us today Christina Bobb. We had her before, and really just an amazing person. Attorney in Washington, D.C., former TV host and author of Defiant, Inside the Mar-a-Lago Raid and the Left's Ongoing Lawfare. She began her legal career in the United States Marine Corps. Following her military service, she transitioned to private service, and after the 2020 election, she joined President Donald Trump's legal team to focus on election integrity for the 2024 election. And during that election cycle, she joined the RNC Election Integrity Section and senior counsel to ensure the president's victory. She does have a website, ChristinaBobb.com. There's a picture of the landing page. And she still has her own legal challenges. We'll talk about that. So, Christina, good to see you again. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. How are you doing with your own battles?
Well, I mean, it's going well, but they're still there. They still exist. My case in Arizona is the only one remaining. I'm co-defendants in that criminal case with Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, John Eastman, Jeff Clark, you know, the whole shebang. It's falling apart, but the prosecutors are still trying.
Okay. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Hang in there.
Thank you.
You'll get on the other side. This topic of former ambassador and then, of course, National Intelligence Director John Bolton's indictment is pretty amazing. Yeah. This kind of got everybody's brain on tilt. How serious is this?
Well, it's very significant. I mean, they're accusing him of basically leaking classified information. It's unlawful retention, 18 counts of unlawful retention, and I believe there's disclosure because he was disclosing it to unidentified individuals, but they appear to be family members or someone very close to him. 18 counts. A lot of the information, at least what's listed in the indictment, says that some of it was top secret, which is the highest security classification outside of different compartmentalizations. So it's far more serious than anything they charged Donald Trump with in the Mar-a-Lago matter. The Mar-a-Lago matter was 100%, all 39 counts against Donald Trump were specifically focused on his conduct with the Department of Justice, meaning obstruction of justice, or they said that he or his team was lying to the Department of Justice. Nothing ever accused him of actually disseminating or providing classified materials to anybody. That's different than what's happening with John Bolton. John Bolton is accused of that. So yeah, it's pretty significant.
Would a person in his position normally have classified information after leaving office?
Well, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to take it outside of a SCIF, a secured classified information facility. Apparently he did. You know, I want to be careful here because it's probably not uncommon. I would imagine that a lot of former officials have it. I mean, we saw it with Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden had it, and then Mike Pence had it, and everyone was pretty much like, yeah, well, we know you all have it. They were just trying to trap Donald Trump. So they're not supposed to. There are very clear guidelines on how classified material is supposed to be handled and kept, and clearly those have been violated. I think the particularly concerning situation here is that he was intentionally disseminating it on his way out of office. And to the extent that he put it in his book, he made millions of dollars off of doing that. So that's a little bit concerning too. Making money off of disclosing classified information is not good.
Was that the tip off the book? I mean, that's where
I
they
believe
begin
so.
to connect the dots.
I think so. I mean, it happened when his book was first coming out, and I believe at that time the Trump team pushed back and said, "No, this is classified material. You can't publish this." And the judge sided against them, saying, "I mean, he can do whatever he wants, and if he is going to get charged criminally later, that's up to him." And he did publish it, and now he's charged criminally. So I don't think this is surprising to anybody, but I do think the book was the first thing that tipped them off, but I can't confirm that.
Some people say, or I don't know all the facts, but some things said that he actually posted on AOL his counts, some of the stuff that he had. I mean, he actually transferred it that way. Was he that stupid?
That, according to the indictment, I believe that's accurate. I think he was basically emailing it to people.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Just a little bit further background. What happened to him? I mean, he was a pro-Trumper and then an anti-Trumper. What happened?
Well, I don't know that he was ever a pro-Trumper. Yes, he was the national security advisor, but that was President Trump's first term. President Trump was just getting into politics, didn't really understand the differences between politics and business, and politics is its own ball of wax. Clearly, President Trump is much more sophisticated in that now. I don't think John Bolton was ever really pro-America first. He's always been a war hawk. We all know, it's no secret, that there are a lot of Republicans who did not want Donald Trump into the political landscape because he changed the game. Donald Trump really was kind of airing America's grievances for the world to see, and the American people loved him for it. And that's how he gained so much in popularity, was he was really resonating with the common man, the everyday man. And you have a lot of elites here in Washington, D.C., Democrats and Republicans, that don't want that game changed. And I think John Bolton falls into that camp, as Jim Comey does as well. He's a Republican.
Yeah, I want to come back to that. But just finishing this off a little bit, some of the criticism is that this is reverse lawfare, weaponization against an opponent. How do you process that?
Well, as a criminal defendant myself at the moment, I'm not shedding any tears for anybody. They opened this door. And now they have to walk through it. I don't believe in tit for tat, slitting everybody's throats just because you can. But the left in particular, I shouldn't even say the left because that's not really accurate. It's those opposing the America First movement, which for the most part is the left, but Republicans are on that side as well, as John Bolton is. They're really hurting the American people. And they have made it so clear that they are not going to stop until they are stopped. And the tool that Donald Trump has to stop them is criminal prosecution. So they knew this when they opened this door. They knew they were taking a risk. They just thought they were going to win. They thought they were going to be able to shut it down and control it, and they were wrong. And so now they're going, oh, woe is me, woe is me. They opened this door, they walked through it, and Donald Trump is now going to shut it, but they have to get prosecuted first.
All right, so another one, you mentioned it briefly there, the James Comey case. This is kind of interesting. Some say it's a very weak case. What do you think?
I don't think it's weak at all. He lied to Congress. He was under oath. His testimony is recorded. It's transcribed. It's on the record what he said. The defense, I suppose, would be he didn't know he was lying, or he didn't know he was wrong. He wasn't lying. He was just wrong. But I don't know how he could not know that he was the one who authorized leaks. You have other testimony from other witnesses that said that it was Jim Comey who authorized these leaks. And I mean, I don't know how you square that up. Is there reasonable doubt that they're confused about that? I think it's pretty clear cut and straightforward. If there's a weakness, it's the fact that it's in Northern Virginia, and you might have a jury pool. All he needs is one juror. He doesn't have to win unanimously. Lindsay Halligan, the prosecutor, she's got to win unanimously, or I should say the U.S. attorney. So all he needs is one juror that thinks it's stupid and this isn't a thing, that can nullify the whole thing. So I think that's the most concerning part of it. But I think the facts of the case speak for themselves. And I think that it's pretty clear cut.
Is there a statute of limitation on this one?
Well, there was, which was why they hurried up to file it. They filed in time. They may bring superseding indictments with adding other charges that have a longer statute. So they did meet their statute of limitations requirement, but just barely, I think by like a day or two.
Is this primary perjury? I mean, is it a perjury case, lying to Congress? Is that what this is about?
Yeah, it's lying under oath, intentionally lying, misleading Congress when he was the director of the FBI.
What do you think?
I think it is serious. I mean, Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon both went to jail for 4 months for much, much less than this. They went to prison because they said that the subpoena that they received was unlawful, and so they weren't going to honor the subpoena because they said, I mean, they had several different arguments, and ultimately I think they were right. They were proven right, but they still had to go to prison anyway. So what Jim Comey did, he actually agreed to comply with the subpoena and then lied, which is far worse than what Peter Navarro or Steve Bannon did. So I think this is very serious.
Can they get a change of venue?
Well, I think I don't know why they would. I mean, the government would I'm sure the government would love to bring the case in Florida, but no, you can't do that. I believe that the issue is Comey was living in Northern Virginia at the time. Congress obviously is in Washington, D.C. The difference in venue, if they wanted to change it to Washington, D.C., they probably could, but I mean, it's largely the same jury pool, so I don't know that there's a whole lot of reason to do that, but I suppose they could if they tried.
So where is it now? I mean, what do they do now? They go into depositions. What do they do now?
Right. So it's the criminal case. The next thing that the defense attorney has said they're doing is they're bringing motions to dismiss. They want to try to disqualify Lindsay Halligan, who's the U.S. attorney who brought the charges. I don't think that's going to go very far. They have said that they're going to file a motion to dismiss, saying that this is selective prosecution, that it's only being brought to torment political opponents. So that case, that's going to be argued. I'm sure they're in the process. The prosecutors are disclosing the evidence to Comey's team, what they have, if there's any witnesses that they're going to be using, who's cooperating. All of that stuff is going to go back and forth. There will probably be several hearings on, evidence, what can be used and what can't be used. But I think the very next step is the defense trying to get the case thrown out.
Okay. One other quick high-profile case today, as a matter of fact, Lisa James goes before the judge for mortgage fraud. What do you think about this one?
This one is so ironic. It's almost sweet. The fact that she charged Donald Trump for basically the same thing. But the banks testified in behalf of Donald Trump, said, no, this wasn't fraud. We weren't defrauded. We weren't harmed in any way. We actually would do business with them again. We thought it was a good deal. So there were no victims here. I don't think the bank's going to be testifying on behalf of Letitia James in this one, but who knows? I just think it's sweet justice that she's being charged with crimes she actually did commit. And it happens to be the same thing that she falsely accused Donald Trump of.
So how serious is mortgage fraud?
Oh, I think it's serious. It's serious enough for the federal government to say it's a crime. Mm-hmm. It's really designed to protect banks because you don't want a bunch of people failing on their mortgages and then the banks fail. In theory, her mortgage wasn't millions of dollars. I believe it was like $100,000, $200,000, something like that. But I think the more concerning aspect of this is that she's an attorney general. She's prosecuting people for this crime in New York, or prosecutors under her are doing that. And so the bigger issue is that we have apparently two tiers of justice. You've got the political class who can do whatever they want with no consequences, and then you have the rest of us. So I think it does a very good job of letting the political class know we are ending the two tiers of justice, and you're going to be held to account the same way everybody else is.
If she's found guilty, what happens?
Well, she'll be fined, certainly. She'll have to go to sentencing, whether she gets jail time or, we'll have to see what the court wants to do with that. If she's still in office at the time, that creates problems too. So we'll have to see how the court handles that.
All right, got some more questions for you. Let me take a quick break. Check out Christina's book, Defiant, Inside of the Mar-a-Lago Raid and the Leftist Ongoing Lawfare. There's a picture of the cover of the book. Very fascinating. She was there inside Mar-a-Lago when the raid occurred. She does have her own website, Christina Bobb, BOBB.com, and there's a picture of the landing page. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and it's such an honor to have back with us today Christina Bobb. She's an attorney there in Washington, D.C. and a former TV host. She wrote a book, quite a book. It's called Defiant, Inside Mar-a-Lago Raid and the Left's Ongoing Lawfare. She was there when that raid occurred. There's a picture of the cover of the book. She does have a website, ChristinaBobb, BOBB.com. Christina, how would you define lawfare today? Is it ongoing? Oh, we don't have your volume. There you go. There you go.
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
I think you can identify lawfare by the desired outcome. And if you're bringing a case for just reasons, the outcome of the case matters. You want justice. But when you're bringing lawfare for other reasons. You're bringing a lawsuit because you want to take your political your political opponent off the campaign trail, defame him, throw him in prison. You want to defame his supporters, or you want to harass his supporters, or you want to scare people out of supporting him. Those are reasons you bring lawfare cases, which means the outcome of the case doesn't really matter. You have another objective with bringing the case. And that's what we saw with Jack Smith. They didn't care what the outcome of the case was. They just wanted to get him off the campaign trail. They wanted people to believe he was a criminal. They wanted people to be scared to support him. Same thing they're doing with my case is they want people to be scared to support conservative, values, conservative political positions. And so that's why they're bringing the case. So that's how I think you can tell. Does the outcome of the case matter, or does something else about the case matter more?
Well said. All right, given all that, isn't it amazing that he's won them all? He's still standing and he got reelected? What does that tell you?
I think it's pretty miraculous that he survived all of it, that he's in office. He's doing well. I think it's a very good sign. And I think it goes to show the American people understand a lot more than the elites have given us credit for. They think they can just say what they want and Americans will just consume it. And that does happen a lot on some level. But the fact that Donald Trump still won goes to show the American people aren't buying it anymore. They're doing their own research. They're listening to alternative sources of media. They're getting their information from other sources besides the big news outlets. And I think that in and of itself is a really good sign. It means the centralized media, the centralized narrative is falling apart.
What did you think, and how are you processing the Charlie Kirk assassination?
I think it's tragic. I think it's horrible. I think being honest, I think there's a lot of questions surrounding that and what happened with that need to be answered. I appreciate the fact that law enforcement jumped to try to figure something out and provide a solution for the American people. I want to make sure it's right and correct, not just comfortable. So I've got a lot of questions surrounding that I hope law enforcement look into very carefully. But I mean, I don't know what to say about his situation other than it was just horribly, horribly tragic.
Why haven't we heard more about the assassin at Butler, Pennsylvania, and the one at the golf course?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that, but it does concern me, probably the same way it concerns many people, is what is our government telling us? Now, President Trump is in office, so I'm not as surprised that they're not releasing plans on how someone tried to kill him before, because the last thing you want is someone improving on those plans, right? You don't want to give anybody ideas. So that doesn't surprise me as much. But yeah, I have questions too.
The left seems to be going, and I don't know how else to describe it other than crazy. I've often said it looks like they have a leak in all four tires. I mean, they're slowly winding down. And one of the extreme things that they have done was that they called the Charlie Kirk Memorial a Nazi rally. It seems like the left is really gone crazy, especially during this shutdown where there's so many little things on the table that they could have done and yet still negotiate a settlement, like paying people and stuff like that. They have gone completely crazy.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but what do you think of it? What do you think of it?
I think it's pretty outrageous. I think celebrating anyone's death is pretty horrific, especially someone like Charlie Kirk, who was he wanted open debate. That's all he wanted. He wanted open debate. I do think the left I think Trump derangement syndrome is a very real thing. I think they claim to be the party of love, but in reality, they hate more than anybody else I've ever met in my life. And it seems to be, in my opinion, kind of a small group of radicals. I don't think the normal, everyday Democratic Americans feel that way. But the crazy people that you're talking about seem to get a lot more airtime than the rest of us. And I think that is very concerning. There are people who hate this country. There are people who want to see this country divided, and they're using some radical, crazy people to kind of stir confusion in our nation. And it's really, really dangerous. And unfortunately, the people who are funding it and fueling it and promoting it are in very powerful positions in this country.
I've often said they get an A+ in blaming us for what they're doing. And what's happening now is that their rhetoric is creating such civil unrest and even a potential insurrection with the full intent of blaming the right for it.
Yeah.
The danger of that is we lose a country in the middle of this. Do you think we understand that?
I don't think anybody alive today has any idea what the future holds for this country. I mean, I feel like, even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you could say, oh yeah, America's going to be about here in 10 years. And I don't think anyone knows right now, because there are so many powerful people and nations and companies and individuals that have really specific interests in seeing America thrive or seeing the downfall of America. And, this isn't a two-front war, if I can say it that way, or a battle. It's not right versus left. It's media versus pharmaceutical versus global economics versus climate act. Like, all of those issues are a different front with billionaires behind them, nations behind them, with different agendas. And so this is a very complex, multi-front assault on America, internally as well as externally, that I don't know how it's going to shake out. I definitely think we're being weighed. We're hanging in the balance.
The fly in the ointment for the left is the faith community. Mm-hmm. And the rise of the attack or against religious freedom, Christians in particular, is an all-time high. But at the end of the day, that's the answer. Where do you think we are with that?
With faith?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything they can to dismantle the Christian way of life, not just through churches or, a true religion, but families. I mean, they are attacking families. They want to do away with, a mother and father controlling their children, raising their children in the way that they see fit. I think the fact that they're attacking families so directly, I think proves your point, because it's in families where we gain our strength through faith. And I'm not trying to throw shade on churches at all, because churches have their role, but it really comes from family and people that you do family with, and that they're attacking that very, very aggressively.
One last question back to Mar-a-Lago. Has the purpose of the raid been pretty much wiped out?
Well, it wasn't for whatever they claimed that it was. They claimed that they were trying to recover classified documents that Donald Trump wasn't allowed to have. Well, first of all, they don't have authority to do that. And they never had probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago. The fact that they got a warrant from a judge only goes because the judge was conflicted out. The judge just a few weeks prior recused himself, saying he was conflicted, he couldn't be impartial in the Trump-Clinton case, so he recused himself. And that's the judge that signed the warrant, who by his own admission was partial and could not be impartial. But they never had probable cause to raid Mar-a-Lago. And I think they were looking for a crime, whether it was, recovering Crossfire Hurricane or whatever. They wanted to frame Donald Trump for a crime that they had no evidence of, and ultimately never did get any evidence of. Even after raiding Mar-a-Lago, there was no crime.
Okay. We're losing your video there. All right, so let me tell you to our viewers and listeners, check out Christina's book. It's called Defiant, Inside Mar-a-Lago Raid and the Left's Ongoing Lawfare. There's a picture of the cover of the book. Pretty fascinating. She was there when it happened. And then her website is ChristinaBobb.com. Christina, thank you. You're fascinating. Thoughts and prayers as you continue your own battle there in Arizona. When do you think you'll go to trial?
Well, thankfully, I don't think we're going to trial. The indictment's been thrown out. The judge has said that the prosecutors failed with the grand jury. So There's nothing to try at this case, but the judge is just allowing the prosecutors to keep the case open for now. So thankfully, I don't think I'm going to trial. I'm hoping the case is dismissed shortly.
Good for you. Hey, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.